Today, the governor, how many members are there in the MPC at the moment?
Just about 5.
Just about 5.
Yeah.
Okay, so he will still have a swing vote. What are you expecting?
I expect no change in interest rates with a dovish tilt in terms of their expectations going forward.
Amongst the hawks?
Well, I think Governor Lesetja will always be among the hawks.
Exactly. I've called it the House of Hawks because what you have seen coming out of that MPC.
I think what's more important as well is on the 19th of February, the Reserve Bank published a paper on the so-called R-star, which is the neutral real interest rates.
Right.
And in that paper, they conclude that real neutral interest rates are at about 1.9%, so we can round off to 2%.
Okay.
So if we consider the current inflation, the current repo rate, it will suggest that neutral rates, or it will suggest that real interest rates are at 2.65%, which means some that takes current data, they would advocate for a cut in interest rates. But obviously we know the Reserve Bank has about 2-year lead time in terms of their monetary policy horizon.
Yeah.
And if you consider at the last MPC, what the sub-focused in terms of interest rate was 6.9%, round off to 7%.
Yeah.
If you consider the forecasted inflation over the next 2 years,
yeah,
it's about 5%, which means it's right on the dot on 2% real interest rates.
Right.
And if you consider that, it would suggest that the Reserve Bank should just maintain a neutral stance, even in terms of a tilt, whether hawkish or dovish. They should just maintain a neutral stance with no change in interest rate.
That's interesting, because I wanted also to ask you a question around this focus, which appears to have been gathering momentum and which we hear quite a little bit often from the Reserve Bank side about staying within the middle range of that target range of 3 to 6%. That 2% real interest rate that you're talking about, the differential that you're talking about, and that middle range, are those the new sort of targets that the bank is fixing on?
Well, officially, the target remains between 3 to 6%. In terms of where inflation should be.
Yes.
But obviously, in the modeling of inflation in the economy, you have to put a number, and that number they put is 4.5%. And they've indicated over the past couple of years that they prefer to push inflation expectations towards the midpoint, which is 4.5%. If you look at core inflation, it is about 4.4%, which is close to the midpoint. Headline inflation is lower, 4.1% at the last release in February. But over the medium term or the focus horizon, inflation moves above 4.5% to close to 5% on average over the next 3 years, which is above what they would prefer to inflation to be at, which suggests we shouldn't be even talking about cutting interest rates.
Is that a good thing or is that a bad thing, Isaiah? Because the mandate is obviously 3 to 6%, and people would suggest that in an economy where there are no jobs and where you've got a crisis in terms of formal employment, 27% is a high number, amongst the highest in the world. You shouldn't be restricting that range, in fact, changing the mandate, if you like. You understand what I'm saying? I am not accusing the governor of changing the mandate. I am saying, in part, by that focus, it's almost like you're not allowing the economy to heat up a little bit, perhaps to create the jobs that we need.
I think if we are honest with ourselves, the economy is weak not because of monetary policy. In the mid-2000s, the economy was growing close to 5%, interest rates above 10%. So which means the economy can grow. It's other sectors of the economy that need to adjust in order to boost economic growth.
And we know where those are.
Exactly, we know where those sectors are. Low productivity is not something that can be solved by monetary policy. So this idea that monetary policy is the do-it-all to fix South Africa's economic problems is just misplaced. Perhaps it's a lack of understanding of how the economy works.
I'm going to ask you to come back another day to discuss the output gap and also to discuss the structural things that you guys keep talking about. I want to put a name to those things. We'll park that for today. Let's talk about Moody's tomorrow.
I don't expect a change in the credit rating itself, which is Baa3, which is the lowest investment grade credit rating. I also don't expect a change in the outlook, which is currently stable.
That's not consensus, is it?
Well, it's not consensus. If you look in terms of the credit rating itself, the market agrees there is not going to be a change in credit rating.
But on consensus on that.
But on the outlook, the market is split. About half expecting a no change, half expecting a move to negative outlook.
Right.
I think there is a slight chance we may see a change in outlook, particularly because of concerns around the restructuring of Eskom and dealing with Eskom's balance sheet, because ultimately, whether we like it or not, with whatever financial engineering that can be done on Eskom's debt, ultimately Eskom's debt is South Africa's debt. And if that materializes as a contingent liability to South Africa's debt, it will have an impact on the debt matrices of the country.
Absolutely.
So if Moody's assesses that to be materializing or to have a high risk of materializing on the state's balance sheet, they can move the outlook to negative. That won't be the end of the world, because they still have typically about 18 months to resolve that negative outlook, which gives government some time to actually address Eskom's issues.
Because we'll be post-elections as well, so the government can use the capital gain from that election to try to take some tough decisions. I wanted to go back a little bit and talk about one issue that some people have been talking. You have Moody's as the only rating agency amongst the big three that's got an investment grade rating on South Africa. Some people have suggested Moody's is playing politics, is it?
Not necessarily. You can take it back to 1994. The very first rating of the country from Moody's was investment grade, Baa3, with a stable outlook, which is exactly where we are. So we have gone full circle. From 1994, we improved to an A3 rating in about 2009, and from 2012 we started to see downgrades. And most of the time, Moody's have had a better credit rating compared to the other two. So it's quite consistent with what they have done
in terms of
since
their methodology and thinking and the kind of things that they focus on.
Exactly.
Okay. The other view that has come through is that actually Moody's may not publish the statement at all tomorrow. Have you heard about that?
I haven't. I'm hearing it firstly from you as we speak now.
Thank you. I will not claim that I know more than others. I was given it to me yesterday by Peter Atad Montalto, who we all know is a regular visitor to this country. He knows the South African market, I think, as much as you guys on the ground do know, and that's where I got it from. I want to know your view.
No, it's quite possible they may not issue, but from the timing that we normally typically know, or from what they have indicated, tomorrow they're going to issue a credit rating review for the country. Absolutely.
I wanted to go back a little bit and talk about growth, because we have seen the Rand, two things have happened post the last growth numbers that we have seen. We've seen the Rand breakout, going weaker, and then we have also seen, of course, the Eskom blackouts, which have had an impact on jobs, and people are saying potentially on growth as well. Have you had to revise your numbers for 2019?
Not yet. We're quite, moderate in terms of our forecast, 1.3%.
Is that where you're sitting now?
That's where I sit now. In terms of Eskom's impact, obviously that will have an impact on economic growth, but at least it lasted just about a week, at least if we're talking about stage 4 load shedding. It will have an impact. I was in Century City in Cape Town in a mall, Eskom load shedding, all shops closed, which means the retailers are hit the most. People came to work, which means they get paid the full salary, but because they are not generating revenue, the retailers, they suffer. Much more for small, medium enterprises, which can't handle, on the one part, the load shedding, they can't buy generators, but also on the other part, when there is electricity, the tariffs are too high. So it will have a negative impact on the economy. But I guess the question is this a long-term impact? Is it going to persist? I think there are many efforts that are being taken by Eskom management to make sure that we don't have load shedding persistent.
When will you redo your numbers?
We'll redo our numbers perhaps over the next couple of months after elections, where we see the policy impetus that is going to be announced. Then we can relook at the numbers. For now, I think we will keep with the numbers.
Isaah, thank you. Isaah Mhlanga is Chief Economist at Alexander Forbes.